like a video study, and we're going to watch one of Elliot's matches. I'd love if you guys can. You can if you're in a quiet space, you can unmute yourself so we can just kind of chat. I'm seeing a lot of faces of people whom I haven't seen in a while, and it'd be nice to say hi to you guys. Hi, Kim. Jay, what up? Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Professor.
Good to see you, Whitney. How are you doing?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
Professor.
What's up, dude? How are you, Quan?
There we go.
It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
All right, guys. Is that Gus? What up? And who's that in the middle?
Hi, Gus.
Kevin and Ethan. I don't think I've met you guys. Nice to meet both of you.
Yeah, we trained down in Centennial.
Okay, nice, guys. So what I've been doing in my classes is like a video study, and all we're going to do is we're going to watch one of Elliot's matches, and then we're going to watch Rafa Mendez do a no gi match. He's one of my favorite jiu-jitsu competitors, gi and no gi. So we're going to check him out. But yeah, so guys, I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna share the screen, and again, guys, I would love. This is just I'm looking at this right now. It's just a time to just kind of hang out. We can chat, and if you guys have questions as the match is going on, I'd be happy to sort of, I'm going to kind of walk through the match and kind of discuss a little bit what I think Elliot was trying to do and what Bruno was trying to do, and I'll just kind of like walk you guys through the match. In the first match we're going to watch, Elliot fought a guy named Bruno Bastos, who is a very, very decorated jiu-jitsu fighter. So I'm going to put that on. Gordon, can you let me share the screen? And guys, obviously, I know many of you were probably showing up expecting to be doing drills and to be getting some training in, so I apologize. It's a little bit different. But I do think
that's okay, Professor.
Cool. Hey, Jordan, for some reason, it's still not letting me share this. It says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Well, that's weird. Let's see.
Guys, everything is in trouble here. I'm late.
Oh my gosh.
It's not working. But at least I get to see all of you.
I don't know. Oops, let's turn that on. Maximize. Zoom.
How are all you guys doing?
You should be able to do it.
Good. It's not letting me for some reason. Well, what is plan B? I do have a plan B.
Try this. Hang on. That's right.
One will take care of it.
Could
Here
you
we
send
go.
Jordan the link?
We got it.
Oh.
All right, so here we go. So I remember when Elliot fought Bruno, I was very concerned because Bruno he's a very, very good pressure passer from the top of half guard. Now I know Elliot has a really good half guard, but when he kind of pulls the half guard and decided to play it, I got very scared. But there's a good result, so let's check it out. And guys, again, you can let me know how the quality is. Hopefully it's not too choppy. And you guys can unmute yourselves so you can talk. And this was in 2016. So this is 4 years ago already, which is crazy. So right here, when Elliot pulled, I was like already sort of having a heart attack because you can see that Bruno is like, he's very, very heavy on top and he gets this underhook with his left arm and is able to put a lot of pressure. But if you guys have trained with Elliot, you know that like Elliot is so good at creating space here with his frames. And you're going to watch this whole match. Like one thing I really like about this is like, look how calm Elliot is, like, right? And he's just always working his frame and his pummel and just controlling the distance. And so here I was like, oh my God, this is a problem. But Elliot's going to work his left hand back inside. right? And he's just going to create space here, and he does it inch by inch, right? It's not these massive explosions. He's not wasting a ton of energy. He's just calm. He keeps control of Bruno's leg, and he starts to work his hand inside to create space. And here he does it. What's cool is the match we're going to watch after this is with Rafa Mendes and Caixinho. It looks completely different, like two completely different styles. This one is a lot of like heavy pressure, slow, methodical chest movement. And then the Rafa Mendes one is going to be a lot of very quick outside perimeter passing. Here, Bruno's looking to egg beater his left leg, the leg that's in half guard. He's trying to flatten Elliot out and then windshield wiper his left leg out. But Elliot does a really good job of keeping his leg and, again, working his left arm inside, just staying patient. I feel like this is something I was never able to really replicate when I competed. I felt like I always was, I don't know, I felt like I was expending too much energy. Oh, I didn't ever feel like I was able to stay as calm as Elliot does. What have you guys been working on in this class with Elliot?
Back, lots of back.
Lots of back. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I shoot it back.
Nice. Jay, how are you, dude?
I'm pretty good.
Good to see you, buddy.
Because,
Hey, you grew up, man. You got
Yeah.
big.
yeah, Christian too, man. He's taller than me now.
Well, last time I saw Christian, he was huge.
Yeah. He's about to be 15. He's growing up.
It's crazy.
He's going to be like Professor Alex tall.
Yeah. Oh, man. See how Elliot keeps – so every time Bruno tries to scoop his head, Elliot is able to get his left hand back inside into the crook of his elbow, and he kind of makes that gable grip and just creates space. So one thing you guys can practice, like if you want to do if you want to train after this is over, what I love to do a lot of positional training. I really can't stress how important this is. Like it's super fun to slap hands and just train, but training from, for example, have the person flatten you out from the top of half guard, get your head wrapped, and then train out of that position. And then the moment you escape from the bottom and you get back onto your side and create space, go back there. And this is a great way to just to put yourselves in uncomfortable situations over and over again. So when it actually happens, you've been here a million times, you're not concerned, right? And you know exactly how to manage it.
Is there any use of getting a lockdown, Professor?
Yeah, so there is. It's a great question. There is. The lockdown can be very useful, and some people play it very, very well. I don't play a ton of it. A lot of the times people who play the lockdown, they're going to go for that like electric chair stuff where you're going to be swimming under the far side leg. I think Elliot is more concerned, and in this match, I think rightly so, to get on his side and create space and control the distance. Because being flattened out under this guy is not good. But man, like Elliot, he's doing such a good job in this match of just, again, and this is beautiful. This part's really nice. So hold on, I want to rewind that.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, so like this entire time, Elliot is staying calm, he's staying relaxed, he's creating space, and then Bruno is starting to get tired. And what's going to happen here is see Bruno's left arm. Can you guys see my cursor?
Yep.
So Bruno's left arm, right, is the one he's using to kind of underhook. And Elliot is going to take advantage because Bruno he kind of gets a lazy underhook with his left arm, and Elliot's going to push his head away, and that's going to create space for the omoplata. So when you're playing the bottom of half guard, you're able to stay on your side, and the person on top is insisting on this underhook, but they're not flattening you out, right? You're going to be able to look at the omoplata here. So watch what Elliot does. So it happens right here. He's going to get that lazy underhook, and Elliot's going to push his head away, And the mistake here that Bruno made right there. So Bruno lets Elliot push his head off the center line, right? And when you have an underhook and your head is pushed off the center line, it becomes a big problem.
Oh.
And now see how he's in the omoplata?
Ah.
And he stays on it really nicely. But that was a beautiful setup.
How come Professor went that way? Went left rather than going right?
Here,
Or the omoplata?
let's look at it. What's the question, Quan?
So he was kind of going to, Professor Elliot was going to his, I'm trying to see, maybe back up a little bit. Yeah, right there. Wouldn't you kind of try to go, like, scoot the other way?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So Elliot does his omoplata a little bit differently. So what I like to do is I'm going to take my right hand and reach over and grab his hip, so I'm almost parallel to him. Elliot likes to I'm pointing at the screen like you guys can see what I'm doing, sorry. Elliot likes to take his right knee and drop it to the mat. Right, so it's like he does it slightly differently. But one of the things to consider in this tournament is you can get slammed. So Elliot doesn't want to get lifted off the ground and dropped, right? So he's trying to put a lot of pressure on his shoulder by dropping his right knee to the mat. But then Bruno is obviously strong. He's able to shuck out of it.
Hey, Professor.
Yeah. What's up, Professor?
How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Sorry, my computer did not work when I needed it to work, so I had to call in on the phone. I just wanted to hop in there. Quan, one of the things about that setup right there is Bruno is a very strong guy. So as you see Elliot hack the omoplata, Bruno starts straightening that arm out, and he's threatening to pull it free. So I think what you're seeing when Elliot switches his hips is he's trying to not give up the escape to the omoplata. And Professor Ian's pointing to, like, when he's dropping his knee inside, it's a very classic transition from omoplata to leg entanglements. If that right knee can hit the hole, because now the left leg can swing over the top and start isolating Bruno's leg. Bruno does a great job navigating it, but there's a ton of jiu-jitsu going on there for a second. That was a great question, buddy.
Yeah, good pickup, man. I'm going to play it forward a little bit. And guys, so Alex and I, real quick, Professor Alex and I have been sort of like tag teaming the classes in the mornings. So I'm really glad you're here. Like, because we've both been sort of chiming in with sort of not our perspective on what's going on, but really like whenever I'm making comments, it's typically like, again, a little bit here, I'm trying to read Elliot's mind. I actually think Alex's diagnosis of what just happened was probably closer, because Elliot loves to go to the leg entanglements. And like Professor just said, like when you drop your knee like that, you can quickly attack the leg, especially when they stand up. So maybe he was anticipating that. But yeah, Alex and I have been sort of co-narrating all the matches, so I'm stoked he's here. But I'll continue playing this.
Professor Ian, can I make one comment?
Please.
So I love omoplata, and what Elliot was doing before, because he is a really big guy, his opponent, and when he's trying to keep him down, because he is, right, the defense to omoplata is to sit up. So he's straightening his legs, which is keeping his shoulder on the ground.
Yeah.
And I use that a lot to then transition to what you're saying, is to then get the hip.
Yeah.
So when they're sitting up, straighten your legs real hard. I usually leave it cross them so that it's really hard. And then I sit up, get the hip.
Yeah. And so, because Kim, what you're saying is it drives their shoulder to the mat.
Yep.
And
guys, Elliot did a really good job on that.
Yeah.
It's just he's so strong.
Yeah, no, this guy is a monster. I mean, this is really a pretty expertly fought match here. You know, one thing, guys, too, is like I can't really stress the importance enough of watching video like this. If you, it's awesome to watch instructionals, and I think it's very, very important to do that. But then take the instructionals of your favorite jiu-jitsu practitioner, that you know, watch his or her instructionals and then watch them compete, because you're really going to start to see patterns of them doing their best stuff on the other best guys and best girls on earth. That's why I really like, this is a very valuable video study, is incredibly valuable to your progression in jiu-jitsu. And I think it's something that, you know, it's not done as much as it should be. Lion King is playing in the background. 37 and Lion King's on for some reason, but it's a great movie. And so right now Bruno's down, right? Because Elliot got in here, he's looking for that omoplata attempt again. But now Bruno's posturing up, but he's down because in this, I believe in this tournament, you're going to get awarded, I don't want to say points necessarily, but you get awarded like basically advantages for close submission attempts. And he definitely got one for that omoplata. And
Right.
there, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's why we see the fallback from Bruno here. Risky business, my friends. If you're going to sit back on that ankle lock, you should probably set it up.
And Alex, you think he was doing that because he's down on points? He's got to do something to.
Right. The referees are so heavily biased to the submission attempts that losing a position, totally fine as long as it's a submission attempt, right? So Bruno falling back here really won't get him hurt for like losing points. And he might have like scored in the judge's eyes for the point attempt, but Elliot making his way to mount is for sure going to start taking that away from the judge's eyes.
Yeah.
How would you go about setting up that ankle lock, Professor?
We'd want to slow down a little bit there. Bruno got a little excited. If Professor wants to rewind just a little bit, we can see it. The guard pass is a great opportunity to isolate a leg. You just want to have some control with the knee line before you lay back. So in this tournament, it's not as risky because if you end up on the bottom, there's still no points. But, I mean, you can see Professor Elliott ends up with that arm isolated from this attempt. So you got to be really careful still. As he sits down, we're typically going to try to isolate one of the legs. Right here, oh man. So this is where I think Professor Ian was noticing on the omoplata. This is the same attack. If you guys are familiar with K-guard, it's an old school guard that's popular these days with the leg lockers where we're dropping our inside leg to the floor, knee inside, and swinging out into like that matrix chop with our outside leg. It's going to allow Professor to start attacking like a backside 50-50. Bruno can feel this. He may not know where it's going, but he can feel that Professor Elliott's left leg is about to start swinging like crazy and cause trouble. So he latches onto it. And in the moment of latching onto it, he feels that he has an ankle lock grip. So if we were to press play here just a little bit, bang. He tries to pinch his knees around Professor Elliott's femur. His left hand is trying to scoop up the top of Professor's quad so he can shotgun the leg into his hip and sit down with the knee line past his own knee line. But you'll notice he misses here. Professor's knee is, you can almost see it, but it's hidden behind Bruno's knee, which means it's popped, right? Oh, that's a great pause. Great work, Professor Ian. With his knee line stuck now between the ashigarami rather than outside of it, Professor has easy access. Like he's not in danger here, even though it looks like a leg entanglement. And you'll see that big boot that he has on as well with those toes curled behind Bruno's arm. It'll be really hard to break down the leg there. He won't break it down in time before Professor Elliott makes his way on top.
He just kind of lets it go, looks like. You know, and here, like all that being calm and relaxed that we saw in the first half of the match is paying off, right? Because Bruno's tired.
It kind of looked, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It kind of looked like he didn't know how to finish the heel hook.
maybe.
Or,
He did
I mean,
have
not
time
the
to
ankle lock.
finish.
Sorry, the ankle lock. It just, just kind of seemed like he let go of it right at the end.
Yeah, it's possible that there was some misinformation there, but sometimes things get happening so fast in the match that it just wasn't quite sealed up enough for it to stay there long enough for him to finish the attack.
Yeah. And so you guys train with Elliot a lot. This look familiar, right?
Word.
Oh,
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
oh, nice.
That was a quick finish.
Yeah, against a very, very, very tough opponent.
Huh.
Cool.
Sirs, what are your philosophy in the close guard? Danaher had posted that you should never be on your knees. As soon as you're in your close guard, you should pop up. Bruno was sitting in the close guard there for a while. I mean, that's just his style? And
So my opinion is like I'm going to agree with Danaher. I think and I'm going to speak in fairness, guys. I mean, this is a mystery. I feel like I am much more proficient in a gi, right? But when I train no gi, I take some of the same principles. But I don't like being on my knees ever in the closed guard. I think it gets you in trouble very, very quickly. With a gi on, it's certainly like it's like against the wrong person, you might never get out of that thing. Something I always talk about is, if we back up a little bit, Quan, is like fight. I don't want to be in the closed guard. So not only did Bruno kind of sit down, and it looks like he was trying to rest a little bit, but he was a little bit complacent about letting Elliot get there. And I think, when I'm passing, I fight someone from pulling me into closed guard like I do, from getting mounted. Right. Because again, there are people who I'd rather them be in mount than be in their closed guard. Their closed guards are so dangerous. So getting sucked into closed guard is a problem. And then, just to answer your question, I always stand up as quickly as I can. In fact, I have a 3-second rule, because it's the longer you sit there, you can kind of convince yourself and be like, oh, it's cool. Just rest for a minute. You're tired. No, get up and you got to start opening the guard. I'm curious to hear what you think, Alex.
Yeah, Quan, that's a great question. And I'm going to agree with Professor Ian there. Closed guard's where you go to get dead, right? You stay stuck in somebody's closed guard too long, they will get you. I think about it as like 3 levels. So once I'm in someone's guard, I'm either standing on one knee, like in combat base, which would be our like middle ground level. And then our 3rd level would be on the floor, but I would argue that you're not necessarily on your knees if you're going to play that way. Like I would like picture over/under pass or stack pass, like passes that are close to the mat, like those 3 ranges. But depending on your ability level, okay, so it gets a little different as we get a little older. Standing up in the guard becomes a little tougher, right? I'm not quite as flexible. Like it can be really heavy on my back. So it's harder to stand up. So like combat base becomes a little more popular. If you go to masters, you're going to see more of the 2nd and 3rd level, like passing lower. But I would argue with like John saying and Professor Ian, standing is going to give you the most options for availability in terms of like the passing opportunities. And if we think about the guard being like a plant that grows around a stake in the ground, it needs something to be constructed on, right? It has to be tied to the stake. So when I stand up, if I can disconnect from the guard, the plant will fall to the ground, right? If it's not tied to the stake, it'll fall to the mat. So if I can get up and start breaking connection, the guard will deconstruct itself. As it gets lower to the ground, it's easier to step through the guard, right? Our knee slices and long steps, etc.
Those are really good questions, man. All right, let's look at the next one. Ignore the dictators for some reason. I don't really know what's going on in this tournament, but it's a great match. I just noticed that. I was like, why is...
Look at the seating. That's some fancy seating.
I've just noticed.
What is going on here? Is this like we have all these corrupt...
Where is this?
despots? and they're just watching these guys duke it out. Dude, this is a crazy sport sometimes. Go ahead. Fast forward it here.
What year was this?
2016, I think.
Okay.
Putin's
So-
black belt in judo.
Yeah, so Alex knows this, but I have a little bit of a thing for Hoffa, but it's okay.
We all do, my friend. It's totally fine.
The other guy he's fighting is a guy named Osvaldo Cashinho, and he is amazing, right? So, like,
Word.
he's one of the best players, certainly one of the best spider guard players in the game. And, man, he's like one of those guys who I feel bad for because he's in Hoffa's division, you know what I mean? And he'd have a lot more world championships if Hoffa wasn't around.
It's interesting to watch them go in no-gi.
Yeah. You know, and the contrast of this match from last match is so interesting too. It's just like different styles, you know.
So Professor Ian, when you say spider, he does spider from gi, right?
Yeah, with the gi on, yeah. No gi, you know, we're probably going to see a lot of, you know, like a lot of inverted De La Hiva, you know, baby bolo style stuff is my guess, you know, with him.
Especially with these two cats. A lot of the old school no-gi game, a lot of inversions to the back, leg drags to the back. Not a ton of leg entanglements were super popular until like more recently in jiu-jitsu's history. Both these guys are a little bit old school with the way in terms of today's no-gi game.
Yeah. How long is this match?
Oh my goodness. 17 minutes?
So Professor Alex, do you consider Lackland Giles old school or new school?
Quan, you always bring the tough questions, man. I would argue that he's playing a pretty modern game, right?
Oh.
His K-guard entries, the way he navigates the 50-50, these are relatively new in terms of like the games that people were playing in no-gi jiu-jitsu. Like leg locks have been around for a really long time. The way they've been systemized to attack the back as well as the legs, that's a relatively new turn in our evolutionary wheel.
Huh.
It's so crazy that these guys are old school now. It's so it's wild. Because I feel like some of this shit was really complicated. You know what I mean? And like, you know, it's such an interesting. Jiu-jitsu is crazy how quickly it evolves.
Word.
Who do you think's the best? I mean, I'm assuming obviously I would imagine Gordon Ryan, but who do you think's the best no-gi pound for pound player?
Ooh, man, you know, I'm going to go a little differently. I think Gordon is pound for pound because he's been winning, right, obviously. But I think that if JT Torres was a bigger guy, I think he would be doing just as well. I think his jiu-jitsu is phenomenal.
That's cool.
His no-gi game is really good.
Yeah, you know, we trained with him. I think he might have been before you got out here, Alex, but he was here. Oh God, I'm losing track of time here. It must have been 7 or 8 years ago now, so it was a while ago. But we did a bunch of training with him. He's a
beast, bro.
He's a nice dude too, man.
Word, Professor. Can we rewind just a little bit?
Yeah.
There's some gi jiu-jitsu rearing its head in no-gi. So right here, guys, playing the De La Hiva, not super common in today's no-gi game. And the way he's running it is to the inside ashi, or we'll call it single leg X in the gi. That's exactly how Hoffa does that in the gi. Or you've done this as well if you've taken any of our advanced classes, this style of De La Hiva to the inside ashi. He's modified it in a way to where he can play it in no-gi, and that's pretty impressive in today's game. De La Hiva is we play it a little differently, right? So to see a classic gi game in a no-gi match, I geek out a little bit. That's pretty cool. As someone who's very comfortable with their De La Hiva, to play it that way in a gi match or a no-gi match. 2-on-1s, playing the stops.
I want to see the other guy play guard, and I want to see Hoffa pass.
Yeah, there you go, guys. Again, De La Hiva, shin to shin, inside Ashi. Now, the Mendez brothers will play it a little differently than like Professor Elliott will play. They'll play that intermediary of like an almost true X guard as a part of their system. So you'll see a little difference like when he's going into, he puts that shin to shin behind the knee rather than like all the way straight to single leg X. Not a huge difference, but if you're into playing that style, you'll notice some real benefits of it in the gi, where it allows us some nice elevations and start attacking the back from the X guard.
Professor, you said that. So the X guard, you're saying that he's putting his shin. I couldn't really follow, but he's putting his shin on the other leg to elevate him.
Right. You can almost see it in this entanglement. That left foot of his that's now in the crotch, a second ago, the goal is going to be to put it right behind the knee. And that's going to allow him, oh man, there was something really good. Professor, can we pause this for a second? Just like 10 seconds back. Yeah, just 10 seconds maybe. Right here. Osvaldo does something really nice. He's trying to set up the 50-50. Hoffa sees this. He does a really classic escape, the straight leg defense, where he doesn't want to give anything for the plant, right, to latch onto the pole. So he straightens that right leg and tries to slide it back. And you'll see Osvaldo does a great job of reclaiming the knee line and sucking him back into 50-50. So he's almost out, kind of like we were seeing with Professor Ellie. He's trying to get that knee out. Osvaldo does a great job of pulling it back in. And, hey, there's an old school guy doing a new trick, bringing in the free leg on 50-50. That's slick. Back to the straight leg escape, made famous by Marcel Garcia. Marcel Garcia was fantastic at that in competitions.
You mean like with the other leg kicking out, Professor?
The other leg will kick out, but and you'll notice Hoffa didn't spin there to escape. Hoffa keeps that leg straight, and he's pulling it straight back. Without a bend in the knee, it's very difficult to stay latched onto the leg, especially in no gi.
So funny, I'm just realizing that I took a seminar with this guy.
Which one, Osvaldo or Hoffa?
Yeah, Osvaldo. When I saw his name written, I was like, oh, actually, I think that's the guy. Just double checked.
He's
I was
really
in Jersey.
good. And he's doing that again. He's going for that far side leg, Alex, off the 50-50. No, but he's a stud. Like he actually, I really like his jiu-jitsu, Kim. And in a gi, he's amazing. He's got an amazing guard.
Yeah, man, that collecting the far side leg is so slick. It keeps you from really being able to escape, right? The straight leg doesn't work anymore because both legs are collected. Allow him to transition to that off leg if he needs it. Ooh.
Here's some Berimbolo stuff.
Yeah, there we go. Man, it speaks to how good he is, because once Hoffa turns that hip for the bolos, like usually he makes it. Like he's gonna start going.
Yeah, now Jordan, you're gonna get your wish. He's gonna start passing here, and it's very, very well done.
Can we pause right there, Professor? Yeah, just like 5 seconds before that. Right there, it's good. Guys, here's an example of the difference of like new school and old school no-gi jiu-jitsu. In today's paradigm, like if you were to throw your shin across the waist like that, using the knee shield as a stop, Gordon Ryan is going to sit back and attack that leg like it's a tasty treat sitting on his lap, right? These two cats, like they don't play the leg locks too much, so he's not as worried about Hoffa sitting down and reaping that leg and attacking the heel hook. So he's able to use it like he would in the gi, as opposed to like if you were to do this with someone that was training a little more modern no-gi game, all they could see is that leg lock right there in front of them. Like, does that make sense? Like the difference in terms of the paradigms.
So, Professor, you don't even, so for the modern game, you're saying they don't even get there. They don't want to get there because you got Gordon Ryan.
You'd be really your coach. Like if I saw you doing that in a match, I'd be yelling, "Yo, put your foot away, all right? Play your butter half or a different style half guard," because it can get so risky to leave it out. But a foot dangling is a foot that's attacked in today's game.
This is my Zoom. Oh yeah. He's been everywhere.
Oh. Oh.
Ooh, the clamshell, super slick. Don't have to put in the top hook, guys, if you can control the top hip like that with the ankles crossed. He's hiding his choking wrist, all things that you remember from your fundies classes. Just waiting for his moment.
Did he just pose for a photo? Is that what that smile was? Anybody else catch that?
Yeah, totally did.
Is holding the leg like that pretty typical? I haven't seen that.
It must be a tournament or a competition with points. So he's trying to avoid letting the hook in and giving up a score. Ooh, Professor, can we rewind? That was so slick. Did you guys see him thread his hook that was in as the body lock leg? He couldn't get, Osvaldo's doing a great job of not letting in that top hook. So as he starts to turtle, you'll see Hoffa thread his left foot across the belly. He stops using it as a hook, threads it across the stomach, and finds the body lock. Right here. He'll kick out his right foot, so he'll replace with his left foot. And right there.
Yeah.
You guys see that? The stability of Osvaldo being in the turtle allows Hoffa to not need the hook to stay in place. He can post his head. Now his legs are free to readjust. He readjusts to a body lock. That's incredibly slick. And now he's not going to be worried about finding the hook because he's in such a dominant control position in the back mount.
I thought it was cool too what he did with his right leg. He like has his right hook in behind Osvaldo's right leg, so he can't close the distance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, see what he's doing with his right leg? He's opening up the space.
Oh, nice.
Bad news bears. Ooh, the hand fighting game. You guys have been working in Professor Elliott's class.
Oh.
Really, really important at this level because nobody's going to give up.
Sometimes I feel like Will Ferrell in that movie. When I happen to take the back, I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands because there's so many things to go through. I'm like, okay, I got there. Now what?
Word.
I think he got it.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
This dude is tough.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Are they resetting?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're resetting.
I think the emperor spoken. They reset.
Is
Yeah,
he
right.
bleeding? Were they doing a medic break?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some. I think it looks like it.
Got a little bloody nose. Underhook control. You guys have been knocking this out a bunch with Professor Elliott and in the gi classes.
Someone had asked me recently, I think it was Laura, like whether I like to do body locks, and this is kind of what I like to do. What Hoff is trying to do, get this corner where you can kind of close your guard over their far side shoulder. I like to do that.
Yeah, it's slick. It's so hard to defend once they're there.
Yeah, and I like to get like what he was doing. I like to get that sort of Kimura, that like seatbelt grip with the arm control.
Man, that was a great adjustment by Hoffa there because he had his way out back to Matt, used that wrist control to pull him back into the back mount, reestablishing chest to back.
This is some good defense too, like
Yeah.
good hand fighting.
So is this just such high level that it doesn't help for you to kind of roll to the other side and trying to peel Hoffa's off the triangle off?
It would definitely be something you'd want to work on too, right? I think that the choke is like Hoffa's threats of the choke are so like dominant that he's not able to also address the body lock, right? Like he's trying so hard to stay alive, defending his neck, that he's not had a chance yet to really look at unpeeling the lock. It's definitely something he'll want to do if he wants out of the position.
Smooth dismount.
Nice.
I think this match is a great example of why Professor Elliott, like in this Zoom class we've been working on the last 2 months, on the grip fighting once we're on the back. Because eventually you're going to fight someone that you'll get their back and they still won't give up, right? Like they're going to keep fighting there. And yeah, you can ride it out to the bell and win on the points. That's fantastic. But we're looking for the finish. So we need a system. Getting to the back is not enough, right? We have to know how to get to the back and finish a really strong opponent. Because as you've seen with Osvaldo, like even though he's had his back taken for at least 2 minutes, 3 minutes here, he's still not giving up, right? He's still trying to
There it
get
is.
back in the fight.
That was it.
And he gets his arm here, if you guys see it, like right here, uses his heel and traps it, and that's the end.
Yeah, you guys have been working that.
Yeah, that's what we've been working.
Yeah.
Guys, I planned this. Well, here, let's stop sharing here. Let's talk, everybody. Yeah, so cool. Any questions, guys? Thank you, Alex, for that was definitely glad you were here.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's so good to see you. I was so shocked to see the Art of Dog behind us and everything. I'm stoked, bro. That logo is clean.
Thanks, man. My brother did it. Yeah, I can't take any credit for it, but my brother designed it. Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time here training dogs.
That's awesome.
Well, guys, thank you for joining me. I again apologize that I don't know if you guys were. I don't know if Elliot told everybody or not, but either way, it was certainly my pleasure. It was very nice to see all of you guys. there's a lot of faces here whom I haven't seen in a while, and I miss all of you. So it's nice to hang out with you guys for a short bit. Do you guys have any questions about anything that we watched, or any Q&A like while we're here?
I just have the question of Hapa didn't really go into the hand fighting until he get to the body triangle. I mean, is he thinking, hey, I'll get there and then I'll fight his hand, because he was just hanging on until you get to the body triangle. Then he start fighting the hand.
My take on that, and I could be wrong, but it's that Osvaldo is very, very good, and he's got very good hip movement, and he was probably trying to control his hips, lock the position down first before he really starts attacking the choke. Just because there's space when you're attacking with your arms, right? And so he just probably locked his hips down first and then started attacking. But what do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I agree with Professor Ian there. I think the threat of Osvaldo getting away was so great that maintaining the position was going to be vital to eventually fighting hands. So I think it's one of those classic jiu-jitsu platitudes, right? Position before submission. Like, he had to really maintain there, and then eventually he'll get his chance to look for the finish.
Yeah. Well, cool, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up. Thanks for hanging out. And if you guys, if you have free time on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m., that's when I'm doing the video study. And I'm doing it with Alex and with Professor Valor a lot of the time. But yeah, it was really fun hanging out. So thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you, Professor Ian. Good seeing you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah.
I want to take another one of your classes now.
It was nice to see you, Kim.
You
Bye,
too.
everybody.
Have a good night.
Bye.
everyone.
Later.
Later, guys.
See you, Ian.
Thank you.
Bye, team.